Tingles with flyby. Daily ASMR videos. Hi, welcome to our game shop. Can I give you any help finding a game? Well, you see, this is just one shelf that we have. We have a wide array of items. Yeah, the Settlers of Catan, very popular series. One game of the year. Who knows how many times even. So a family game. You can play that with family. What kind of ages or... Okay. We also have Bonanza. This is a really fun game. It's kind of, you have little beans and you're planting them in fields, and then there's a lot of trading that goes on. You kind of wheel and deal. Not very good for that. Okay, so you're looking for something where people can kind of have a fun time all together. Well, a really good option is this game here, Pandemic. It's a cooperative board game. Have you ever heard? Well, basically for a cooperative board game, instead of playing in a competitive mode, any of these other games, I think all the other ones here are all competitive games. In this cooperative game, basically everybody wins or everybody loses together. You're all trying to achieve a common goal, and you have different roles. If you're interested in that, I can give you a bit closer look if you'd like. We can pull it off the shelf and kind of look through all of it together, just to give you a bit better idea. Okay, well, why don't I grab that down, and then... Oh, my little thing's gonna fall down. I'll grab that one off the shelf. And we'll have a little bit closer look at our game of Pandemic, okay? Okay, wonderful. So here we are, one of our lovely little gaming tables. Yeah, you can actually come and play in store. It's just $10 per person per hour. You don't even have to bring, and you can use any of our games library. Yeah, so if you, for example, wanted to come and try out playing Pandemic, then you could bring your family along, see how you like the game, and obviously if you wanted to purchase it afterwards, you'd be able to as well. So I'll just go ahead and show you what it's like inside. Of course, we have a full set of rules. Because this is a cooperative game, you usually don't have quite as many issues with this, but having a rule book for any game is very important, so you have it down in writing what the rules are, so that if there are any disagreements over what should be happening or anything like that, you can always refer back to what it says in black and white print. So you'll see each of these items. I'll go through this as we actually look at the board. But this will show you how to set up the game, what you need to do with each of those items, where to put them. And then this tells you more details about what you can do on each of your turns. So we'll go into that in a little bit more detail when we actually describe the different roles and that sort of things. This just tells you a little bit of details about the draw cards, different infections, outbreaks, because I don't know if you gleaned it from the name, So the basic idea is that you are a team of researchers, or, these are the different types of roles that you can get. You can be a contingency planner, a dispatcher, medic, operations expert, quarantine specialist, researcher, or a scientist. And so all of these different roles, you're working to eradicate diseases before they become pandemics and basically wipe out all human population. So the stakes are high, but you're all working together, so it's pretty fun. Okay, so this is the content that you have there. Now, of course, we have one board, and I will take that out and show that to you in a moment, but we'll set that to the side. This one looks like it got a little jostled back in our storeroom. I do apologize for that. Obviously, the brand new ones come completely sealed and everything like that, so yours wouldn't have any issues like this. So, the two types of decks that you have, these are the infection cards. So they will correspond to a place on the map, and those just show you what to infect. And so basically more infections happen at the end of every turn. And then you also have these player cards. And so when you're trying to draw these to collect, to basically fight off the infection, there's different ways of collecting them. And so you have these cards that are for that. We also have these 4 reference cards. Now these are quite handy for showing you the actions that you can take, because basically everyone on their turn can take 3 actions. So you could build a research station, treat a disease, which we'll see the disease cubes in a moment. So basically you can remove 1 disease cube from the city that you are in on the game board. You can share knowledge. You can give the card, so one of those player cards that we were talking about, that matches the city you are in to another player, or take that card from another player. The other player must also be in the city with you. So that obviously is quite a bit to arrange. There are different roles that kind of help you get around that a little bit. You can also, as an action, discover a cure. At any research station, discard 5 city cards of the same disease color to cure that disease. So that's always really good, is to do the cure. You also have a drive or ferry, so move to a city connected by a white line, a direct flight, discard a city card, so one of your player cards, to move to the city named on the card. So, for example, obviously if you want to move to a particular city, you don't want, and if you want to give that card away, you don't want to discard that card to fly to it, because then you don't have that card to give to somebody else in that city. So you have a few complications and problems that you kind of need to work through together. So a lot of little problems that you try and figure out. You have a charter flight. Discard the city card that matches the city you're in, and then you can move to any city. And also a shuttle flight. Move from a city with a research station to any other city that has a research station. So those are all the actions that you can take on your turn, and that is how you will try and save the world. So we also have 7 roll cards. So now that you've gotten a little bit of idea of what the actions are, I'm just going to go through the different roles, and it gives you a bit better idea of how those help you out. So the first role is the dispatcher. So you can move another player's pawn as if it was your own. So you can use your own cards, discard them, move them, basically with those sort of things as if it's your own. As an action, you can move any pawn to a city with another pawn. So if one of your teammates is in a particular city, you can move them so that they'll be in the same city together. So a dispatcher can be very handy to have. You do have to have their permission before doing that. You can see the nice, beautiful artwork on the back, the pandemic. There's also an expansion to this game, but probably just, get your feet wet on this one first. But I do love the artwork on this game. We also have the researcher role. You may give one of your city cards when you share knowledge. So if you remember from here, in sharing knowledge, you can give a card that matches the city that you're in, or take that from another. And so with the researcher, you can give any card to another player, or take, it need not match your city. A player who shares knowledge with you on their turn can take any one of your city cards. So it works the other way around as well. So a researcher can be very handy as well. Also have a quarantine specialist. So you prevent disease cube placements and outbreaks in the city you are in and all cities connected to it. So if you have a city that is, so what happens is if you have a cube and you have to put another cube, then it goes into an outbreak and all these extra cubes get put down. And so if you have a city that's really a bit of an issue, you can move your quarantine specialist over there to sort that one out. But probably the quarantine specialist is the one you don't always use. If you want to be a little more challenging, maybe choose that role for someone. And then we have the operations expert, which is really quite handy. As an action, build a research station in the city you are in. You don't need a city card to build it. Or, once per turn, as an action, move from a research station to any city by discarding any city card. So you don't have to use a specific city card, so that can be really good for getting around. We also have the scientist. For that, you only need 4 cards of the same color to do the discover a cure action. For all the other roles, they need 5. So that is really handy. Have the contingency planner. As an event, take any discarded event card and store it on this card. When you play the stored event card, remove it from the game. Limit one event card on this card at a time, which is not a part of your hand. So that's a little different. And then I always recommend for anybody first starting out, you definitely want to have a medic along as well. So a medic can remove all cubes of one color when doing treat disease. So most others can only remove one cube. So it's super handy to be able to remove all cubes. So you can go and with 3 actions, you can remove from the city you're in, move to the next one, 1 action, and then remove everything from that. So it can be super handy. And then automatically remove cubes of cured diseases from the city you are in and prevent them from being placed there. So once you've got the cure, then that city can't be reinfected while you're at that place. So that can be really handy as well. So really fun little mechanics. Makes everybody's role a bit different and a bit of planning on, okay, who's going to do this, who's going to do this, and everybody has their own roles. Now, each of the pieces, each of the roles has its own color, and obviously we have the pieces that match for each of those roles. So you can see. So we have the orange for the medic, this kind of aqua color for the contingency planner, a little white, here, white for the scientist, this lime green is the operations expert, the more forest green is our quarantine specialist, the researcher is this kind of olive brown color. Our dispatcher is the pink. And then the medic, which I didn't point out before, but it's there. So those items we have. And then these are your little research stations. So there are a maximum of 6 research stations, but you probably don't even need that many. We have the cure markers, which are these 4, because there are 4 colors of disease you can see right here: yellow, blue, black, and red. And so when you cure the disease, then you move it over to, you can see they have the 2 sides. So you can flip those over to track what diseases have been cured. Quite handy. We have a outbreak marker and an infection marker as well, which will is used at a different part of the game. I won't go through all the rules. Don't want to overwhelm you, obviously, just to give you a bit of an idea. It'd be easier, obviously, if you wanted to come into play, or if you purchase the game, then playing with your family. Now, obviously, the last part is this wonderful board. I love this board. It's a map of the world, so kind of a new style risk board. It's really nice though, because you can see, as you see here, it's actually, I'll do this way, my direction. Rather than your old style that only has the fold down the middle, and it makes it obviously quite large on your shelf. This conveniently folds up like so into a nice little disc, so it can fit into this more compact box. So you can see here the colors of disease and where they start. So in North America we have more of the blue disease, yellow in South America and Africa, black through Northern Africa and East Asia, and then, West Asia, and then our red goes to kind of Australia and up through East Asia. Now the important centers are these ones that are connected to a lot of cities, because if you have a block on here and then you have to add another block, that does an outbreak, and that means you have to add a block to every city that's connected by a line. So that's just something to keep in mind. But you can see the spots for your player deck, your discard pile, and your 4 little cure markers. This is where you keep track of the number of outbreaks that you've had. So an outbreak is when you have to add a disease chip, and that one I was just describing, where you have to then add one to everyone connected. And so you can't have 8 outbreaks. If you have 8 outbreaks, then you lose. So there's a lot of different things that can cause you to lose. So obviously everyone's trying to avoid those from happening. You're trying to cure all of your diseases before that happens. And then at the top here, we have the infection deck and your infection discard pile, and your infection rate goes up as well. So that will make more sense, but that's that other little green chip that moves along there. And you can, to more challenging, you can start it not right at the beginning, and you can move it up a bit. So that is pretty much, I think I went through all the items. You can see it's a really nice box inside. You have a couple different little sections to keep all your items in. I think that can be just as important as everything else. And I just love the artwork on this beautiful map. It's very blue. It kind of has that new agey science feel, futuristic. I say more than new agey, not like smoking a peace pipe type thing. Just makes it feel like you're in the middle of a scientific facility and, watching the diseases and how they're spreading through the world. And obviously doing what you can to prevent that from happening. So, I think I've kind of touched on everything. Your disease cubes. Yeah, so there are these little epidemic cards within that you basically shuffle into your player cards. And then there are these quiet nights, which means that nothing actually has to be, no disease chips have to be added. So those can be nice. But part of the addition of these epidemic cards is that they make it more difficult. So there's up to 6. We recommend starting with 4, but if you want to make it more challenging, then you can do 4, 5, or 6. So up to 6, and it can be quite difficult like that. You definitely cannot win every time like that. So we went through the actions. This just gives you some little examples of things you can do to make sure you really understand what's going on. So that's a really nice reference. And this, showing how the chip goes along, what we have for our different infection or diseases, and then the game end. So here are the 3 ways to end the game. If the outbreak marker reaches the last space, so the 8, if you're unable to place the number of disease cubes actually needed on the board, so the number of disease cubes for each color, basically if you're getting so disease-ridden that you've run out of cubes, that's going to be a problem and that ends the game. And you can also, if the player cannot draw 2 player cards after doing their actions. So if you run out of cards. So those are the 3 things that you can lose. Then obviously if you do find the 4 cures, then you win. Which is obviously what you're all aiming for. So, yeah, this is made by Z-Man Games, and it's one of the original cooperative games, but still very popular. I still highly recommend it. And you can see it's good for about 8+, 2 to 4 players, and takes about 45 minutes. They just have those references on the back, so if, in a bit of time you're looking and you're like, oh, I don't know how long, it's always just nice to have that information. Yeah, definitely a joking hazard for the young ones because of the little disease cubes. They're quite small. Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I do love about our shop is you can come in and play, try before you buy. This one you probably want to get in early though, because there is a lot of competition to get our copy of Pandemic. So, but I definitely recommend that. It's a great night for the family as well to just come in and play a game, and if you decide you like it, you can always buy the game or just come back again another time. Yeah, no, we do actually do reservations if you do want to. Okay, well, I'll put you down for that. Oh, I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. It's a really great game. Okay, well, then we'll see you then. And thanks for coming in. Oh, it's been my pleasure. Okay, bye-bye. If you're still awake, thank you for watching this video. Hit the subscribe button down below so that you can be the first to see tomorrow's ASMR video. Yes, I do a daily ASMR video just for you. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked this video, so that you can come back and watch it again and again and again. And be sure to comment down below for your chance to be featured in my monthly Viewers Appreciation video on the 25th. You can comment about this video, or you could comment about a problem you're having in your life. I just want to hear from you. I do reply to all genuine comments, so I look forward to chatting with you down in the comments.